Good evening. Welcome to RupEng News live on Channel I.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Chamindi Samarasekara.
And I'm Dushan Boss.
Indian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, Ashok Kanta, said that relations between Sri Lanka and India will not be impaired at any time. He pointed out that this is glaringly evident in all sectors. The Indian High Commissioner emphasized this, participating in a special interview with National Rupavahini.
This is a relationship which is extremely robust. India and Sri Lanka can never be enemies. We share extremely friendly relations, and it's reflected in so many different ways. India is Sri Lanka's largest trading partner globally. Sri Lanka is the largest trading partner in SAARC region. Nearly 1/5 of all tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka, it's from India. We are one of the major investors. If you just look at recent years, in fact, last year we had investment worth $160 million. We have extremely close defense and security links between our two countries. I referred to expanding footprint of our development partnership with Sri Lanka, and that is not limited to North and East alone. In fact, we are carrying out several projects in South and other parts of Sri Lanka. Last year, we handed over Southern Railway expansion project 6 months ahead of schedule. The short point I am trying to make that this kind of dynamism that we witness in our relations, this kind of robustness that we witness in relations.
Mr. Kanta, who got appointed as the Indian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka on 9th November 2009, rendered a special and immense service for strengthening the relations between Sri Lanka and India. Mr. Kanta is leaving Sri Lanka after completing his tenure of office. Mr. and Mrs. Kanta met President Mahinda Rajapaksa at Temple Trees today. Mr. Kanta has been appointed to the post of Secretary in charge of the East Asian region of the Indian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The President and the Indian team discussed several matters important to bilateral relations and the region. Minister Professor G.L. Pieris, Susil Premchand and Douglas Devananda attended the meeting.
The central bank informed that the trade deficit of the country was reduced by 20% during the first 2 months of this year. It said that the multiple economic policies implemented by the government in the first half of the last year contributed to this favorable factor. The balance between the export income received by the trading with the other countries and the amounts spent for the imports is considered as the trade deficit. The import expenditure this year has been reduced by 9%. The tourist arrivals in the month of February increased by 11%. The income from this sector increased by 20%. The remittances sent by the foreign employed Sri Lankans have been increased by 4.2%. The foreign exchange inflow for investments is also increased steeply. The Fitch rating agency of Hong Kong announced last week that the uninterrupted rate of economic development being maintained by Sri Lanka is commendable. The central bank pointed out that the GDP of this year will register a growth of 7.5 to 7.7%. The economist Professor Ranjit Bandara said that when the trade deficit gets reduced in this manner, the international recognition for that economy gets increased. He said that many countries in the world are facing with the problems related to their trade deficits, but in Sri Lanka, our economy is getting further strengthened.
Minister of External Affairs Professor G.L. Pieris said that the country benefited from the diplomatic relations established by keeping away from the archaic foreign policies. The guidance given by President Mahinda Rajapaksa immensely helped in this connection. The minister made these comments in an interview with the National Rupavahini. The minister said that until the alliance government came into power since 1948, there was only a traditional diplomatic relationship in the country. After the alliance government under the leadership of President Mahinda Rajapaksa came into power, the diplomatic relations were given a new facelift. The government has also focused attention on establishing relationship with African and Latin American regions as well. The minister said that as a result of these relationships, African countries such as Tanzania and Sierra Leone have expressed their support for holding the Commonwealth Heads of State Summit in Sri Lanka. Minister Professor G.L. Piri said that three powerful characters of foreign relations of our country are at present in Sri Lanka. They are Deputy Prime Minister of Japan, Deputy Minister of Thailand and the Immigration and Citizenship Minister of Australia. The Foreign Minister of Azerbaijan will also arrive in Sri Lanka on Monday. The minister said that these are things that happen unexpectedly, but they are taking place in a planned manner under the foreign policy of the country and by getting maximum benefit from the present foreign policy of the government. The minister said that the government took precautions not to impair relationships existed when new relationships were established. Minister Professor G.L. Piri said that after end of the 30 years of miserable period, we have now been able to get the maximum benefit from our natural and human resources. He said that attempts are now being made to get maximum investment for the sectors of tourism, trade and industries by making use of the present foreign policy of the government.
Well, Japan has pledged to provide uninterrupted assistance for the economic development of Sri Lanka. The Deputy Finance Minister of Japan, Mrs. Yuko Obuchi, who is on a visit to Sri Lanka, has said that Japan will give priority in providing assistance for the power, infrastructure and human resources development of Sri Lanka. Mrs. Obuchi made these comments when she met Minister Basit Rajapaksa yesterday. She said that the Japanese investors will be encouraged to invest in various projects in Sri Lanka. In return, Minister Basit Rajapaksa expressed gratification to Japan for the assistance provided by that country during the humanitarian operation and in the post-conflict period. They discussed about the steps to be taken for the development of tourism in Sri Lanka. Mrs. Obuchi assured that Japan will stand at all times for the assistance of Sri Lanka.
11 patients affected by the influenza virus have been identified. The Ministry of Health warns the people to take safety measures as there is a possibility of this disease getting spread throughout the country. Influenza is a virus disease. Between 250,000 and 500,000 people die getting affected by this disease throughout the world each year. This disease was identified in the Asian countries in the 1990s. The main signs of the disease are cough and fever. The virus gets into the body through breathing. Sometimes the patients feel difficult to breathe and they get body pain as well. The doctors inform that the disease mostly affects children, pregnant mothers, those who are over 60 years of age and those suffering from various other diseases. After getting affected by the virus, the signs of disease surface in 2 or 3 days' time. The disease can be prevented by washing the hands with soap after coming from crowded places, by covering the mouth and by use of handkerchief. All hospital staff has been enlightened about the disease and the required medicines have also been provided to the hospitals. The director of the Lade Ridgeway Children's Hospital in Colombo, Dr. Ratnasiri Hevage, said that if the disease was not controlled at early stages, it could even lead up to pneumonia. The director of the Lade Ridgeway Children's Hospital in Colombo, Dr. Ratnasiri Hevage, said that if your child is suffering from fever or cold, prevent the child from going to school these days. He said by preventing the child going to school, 2 things will happen. One is the child cannot be able to bear if the child is suffering from influenza. The other is preventing other children getting affected. The doctor said that there is a possibility of getting this disease spread if the affected children continues to go to school.
Due to the minor disturbance prevailing in the low atmosphere area near Sri Lanka, the western province and districts of Galle and Madura are receiving rain since this morning. The Director General of the Met Department, S.H. Kariyavasam, informed that this situation will prevail for another about 2 weeks. The warm weather condition has been changed since this morning. Southern and northeastern areas have been affected by this situation. The maximum rainfall was reported from Katunayaka this morning. It was 199 millimeters. Due to the wind blowing from north and south pole areas, an unstable weather situation is prevailing near the country. Therefore, the Met Department informed rain or thunder showers could be experienced in many parts of the country. The Director General of the Met Department, S.H. Karyavasam, said that the rains prevailing now could be experienced for the next couple of days. The rains will start in the inner parts of the country and then it will spread to the western province and Galle and Mathura districts. Meanwhile, the felicitations of President Mahinda Rajapaksa and the government have been extended to Venerable Kuburagabe Vajiranayaka Therab, who has been offered with the honorary title of Agga Mahapandita by the government of Myanmar. The felicitation ceremony was held at the temple trees today. The Most Venerable Vajira Therab was born on the 2nd of May 1931 in the village of Kuburgamua in the Kolona Korole of Ratnapura district. He was ordained in 1943. He received his Upasampada in 1953 and he was among the first group of students of the Vidyalankar University that year. He held several posts until he obtained the professorship from Kerala University. He got appointed to the post of Mahopadhyaya of the Buddhist and Pali University in 1988. In recognition of the services who rendered by Most Venerable Kuburagabe Vajira Therab, religious and social activities, the government of Myanmar offered him the Agga Mahapandita degree on the 26th of April. The 82-year-old, the Most Venerable Therab, at present is the Chancellor of the University of Sabaragamuwa. President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that the Most Venerable Kuburagabe Vajiranayaka Therab is a great Buddhist monk who has ensured the national and religious unity.
මං හිතන්නේ අපි අපේ ඉතිහාසය සිහිපත් කළොත් හික්කඩුවේ ශ්‍රී සුමංගල
President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that he believes that the parents of the Most Venerable Therab handed him over to the Sasana because they had the confidence that he would serve the Sasana, the nation and the people of this country. He said that when the late Prime Minister Mr. Bandaranayaka made the Vidyalankara Piriveda a university, the Venerable Therab entered the university as a student of the first batch. It was because of the great service rendered at that time by late Prime Minister Bandaranayaka. Many members of the Mahasangha and the children of ordinary families were able to become university graduates and pass out. The President said that the Pancha Mahabalavegya, the 5 forces of power of the past, is still active today, and the differences are that other forces have made attempts to interfere in the Pancha Mahabalavegya.
එදා පංචමහා බලවේගය අපේක්ෂා කළදී අදත් මේ රට පළදරනවායි කියන එක අපි කියනවා. අද වෙනසකට තියෙන පංචමහා බලවේගයට ආම්දුරුනේ වෙනත් බලවේග එකතු වෙලා තියෙනවා.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා
The Most Venerable Kuburagabe Vajiranayaka Therab pointed out that the President Mahinda Rajapaksa is the greatest state leader of Sri Lanka of the recent era. The Most Venerable Kuburagabe Vajiranayaka Therab said that the President should rule this country as long as he can, and his service for the country is essential to take the country forward. The Venerable Therab said if the country is to be developed, if the peace is to be prevailed, if amity among the different communities is to be strengthened, and if this country to be made a special nation, the rule of the President should prevail in this country continuously. The members of the Mahasangha and several people's representatives attended the felicitation ceremony.
Trade union leaders state that although the working masses of many countries in the world come out to streets to demonstrate against the governments, it is significant that majority of the working masses of Sri Lanka held demonstration expressing their support to the government. The working masses of Sri Lanka has held immense trust on the government. They said that this is the most successful May Day rally held in Sri Lanka. The trade union leaders made these comments at a media conference held at the Mahavali Centre under the chairmanship of Minister Gamini Lokuge. Minister Gamini Lokuge said the President announced concessions for the electricity problem in the May Day rally. It is because of that the working masses solidly remain behind the President. It is the working masses who trust him, support him and believe in him.
The
President of the Public Service Trade Union Federation, W.H. Piyadasa, said that they, as a trade union federation, take the opportunity of the press conference to thank the President for reducing the electricity charges. The President of the All Island Teachers Union, Vasanta Hadapanguda, said that there was a period in which even the bottle lamp was shot at. Many people have forgotten about it today. She said that there was a divine punishment for them that made them to hold flames and to come out to the streets. The Secretary to the Sri Lanka Independence Workers Union, Leslie Devendra, said that on the 1993 May Day, they received the message that President Ranasinghe Premadas has been assassinated. After that, he said that they did know what happened to their procession. It was in such terrible period that they were living. He said that at present that even the opposition parties are given the total freedom of holding their May Day processions and even for criticizing the government. He said that the government has allowed any party to hold their May Day rallies and processions according to this desire. The General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Ceylon Labour Unions, Somavira Chandrasiri, said it was a common sign of holding the May Day rallies in the world to demonstrate against the existing governments. In Sri Lanka, it was totally different. Several 100,000 people gathered to express their gratification for the government that they have appointed and to thank for the concessions continuously being granted for them.
Today is the International Media Freedom Day. The theme this year is safeguarding the rights of the media for the expression of opinion. The General Assembly of the United Nations declared in 1993 to hold the International Media Freedom Day on the 3rd of May each year. With this announcement, the Windhoek Declaration emphasizing the importance of media freedom was also released. The 20th International Media Freedom Day was celebrated today in the Costa Rica capital, St. Joe's. Special attention was focused this year on safeguarding media freedom in the Internet. A one-day workshop was held today at the Information Department in connection with the International Media Freedom Day under the theme of patriotism and the role of media. The workshop discussed media policies, media rules and ethics and media role in Sri Lanka. The Secretary to the Ministry of Mass Media, Dr. Charitha Herath, explained the responsibilities of media personnel in building a dignified nation. The Secretary to the Ministry of Mass Media, Dr. Charitha Herath, said that we all have an understanding about building a nation of our own. Great attempts were made after becoming free from colonialism for building a country with national aspiration. After a period of 60 years, we are at the threshold of building a nation with patriotic aspirations and national dignity. He said that in this regard, the media has a great role to play that cannot be avoided and that cannot be violated. The Director General of the Government Information Department, Professor R. Ratnatugala, the Director General of Media Centre for National Security, Lakshman Hulugalla, and several media personnel attended the workshop.
Australia praised the attempts being made by Sri Lanka to prevent illegal immigration through the Indian Ocean. The Australian Minister of Immigration and Citizenship, Brendan O'Connor, said that the relationship between Australia and Sri Lanka increased during the last few years. The Navy has taken into custody more than 1,500 illegal immigrants during the last few months. The illegal immigrants to Australia coming in boats are deported to Papua New Guinea, Nauru and Christmas Islands. They will not get Australian citizenship or employment opportunities or any other privileges. Australia has already deported to Sri Lanka more than 1,000 persons attempted to enter the country illegally through fishing boats. Australia has also revised its immigration policies since August last year. The Australian government requests the Sri Lankans to enter Australia only through the visas issued through aptitude basis or additional visas given to families resident in Australia instead of attempting to enter the country through dangerous boat trips.
We are a friend of Sri Lanka. We have many things in common, not just cricket. And of course we have a significant Sri Lankan Australian population in Australia. So can I say to you that the discussions I had were frank and candid yesterday. We made very clear that we were very appreciative of the efforts of the Sri Lankan government and its agencies to assist Australia in dealing with irregular maritime arrivals. We thank them for the cooperation that has gone on over many years, but most particularly in recent times. And we will continue to work with Sri Lanka to deal with this very complex regional challenge of asylum seekers and irregular maritime arrivals to Australia.
A meeting between the Australian Minister Brendan and the Minister of External Affairs, Professor G.L. Pieris, was held at the Ministry of External Affairs today. The Australian Minister informed that stern action has been taken to prevent illegal immigrants getting welfare facilities from Australia. Minister Pieris thanked the Australian government for clearly understanding the problem of Sri Lanka and expressing Australia's support at the recent ministerial level Action Group meeting for holding the next Commonwealth Heads of State Summit in Sri Lanka in the month of November.
Meanwhile, the clearing of debris of the Antonov 24 Lion aircraft, which was destroyed by a terror attack on the 29th of September 1998, has kicked off. The aircraft, which was taking passengers from Palali to Ratmalana, was attacked in the Iranathiv coastal area and it fell off. Here is a short account prepared by the RupEng correspondent Manik Divala from the place the debris is being taken out. Manik Divala said that the LTT terrorists destroyed the Antonov 24 Lion aircraft, which was flying from Palali to Ratmalana by a missile attack. There were 48 passengers and 7 crew members, including 4 foreigners, at the time of the attack in the aircraft. The Civil Aviation Authority confirmed that the 48 passengers were Tamil nationals. They said that these details were given by an LTT suspect taken into custody in Manipai on the 13th of June 2011. He said that the attack was carried out from the Iranathiv island. The Sri Lanka Navy was able to identify the location of the fallen aircraft with the assistance of the fishermen of the area. It was at a place 4 miles from the Iranathiv island. In accordance with an order issued by the Kirinochi courts, the Navy took steps to provide security for the area. As per the court's order, separate reports should be provided by the Civil Aviation Authority, the Terrorist Investigation Division, the Archaeological Department, the Nara Institute, the Department of Government Analyst and the Judicial Medical Investigation Unit. The investigations are being carried out under the directions of the Police Superintendent of the Terrorist Investigation Division, Asantha Karavita. Police media spokesperson SP Buddhika Sirivardhana said that the divers were taking out the debris of the aircraft today. They may also continue to do so tomorrow as well.
Sports news. The Western Province women's team won the championship of the Inter-Province 2020 cricket tournament. They defeated the Central Province team in the match played at NCC grounds in Colombo yesterday. The Central Province team batting first scored 58 runs all out in 17.1 overs. Shashikala Sirivardhana took 3 wickets for 6 runs and Oshadi Ranasinghe took 3 wickets for 10 runs. The Western Province women's, chasing a target of 59 runs, reached their target in 10.3 overs and acquired a 7-wicket victory. Nipuni Hansika scored 36 runs in 37 deliveries, which included 6 fours. S. Kumari took 3 wickets for 10 runs. The Pune Warriors team won their match against Royal Challengers Bangalore team in the IPL tournament yesterday. The Royal Challengers, batting first, scored 187 for 3 wickets in their scheduled 20 overs. Chris Gale was able to score only 21 runs in the yesterday's match. Saurav Tiwari scored 52 runs. A.B. de Villiers scored 50 runs not out. Maurice Hendricks was 27 not out. Ashok Brinda took 2 wickets for 52 runs. The Pune Warriors in return scored only 170 runs for the loss of 9 wickets. Robin Uthappa scored 75 runs and Angelo Matthews scored 32 runs. Vinay Kumar and Murali Karthik took 3 wickets each.
Doesn't have to be the same.
And that's all the stories we have for the moment. Do join us once again tomorrow at the same time. Take a look at the latest on the world of news. Till then, have a wonderful time. Good night.